This steaming pile of content is brought to you by none other than Fables. It's Fables again. Now that we're in the new year and I'm not late at all with this video, the first full adventure is out. The first fable gets you started with a simple quest to retrieve a McMuffin from a long-lost civilization. And then the adventure immediately kicks into gear with one of the most interesting ideas for an introduction I've seen in a while. Then you get to run around a massive ancient necropolis, make new friends, slap some vampires, all of this and a little bit more when you click that link down there and subscribe. You get maps, you get tokens, you get a big old PDF with really cool monsters. Wow, look at that guy. And then you get a whole other fable the next month. Okay, here's a video. The term gentle giant is often misunderstood as something huge and harmless, like the green giant who force feeds you creamed corn. But most towers of beef can body you faster than a squirrel with a handgun in the right context, and Loxodons are a perfect example of peaceful titans. These humanoids are inspired by the core traits of elephants, adapting most of them into a more druidic and less horny nightmare. You know about must? When a dude elephant gets horny, they start leaking from their ears and go on unpredictable rampages. Imagine if being bricked up just turned you into a furious zombie. I'd have to fix broken stuff every 30 minutes. But that's a tangent. Going back to the world where elephants only weigh 400 pounds instead of 8,000 and stand on 2 feet, the setting that we're pulling from is Ravnica, a Magic the Gathering setting with a bunch of factions that surprisingly don't get along. Among all the humdrum of what is essentially an infinite Game of Thrones, Loxodon stands so far apart that it feels like they're from a different world. They're peaceful, slow-moving, and often insanely wise Buddhist monk dudes with big old trunks and Newgrounds hands. I don't know why, but they have 4 jointed fist sausages instead of 5. Like they're ready to show up in Friday Night Funkin' with an ancient chant or to be cast in a Family Guy cutaway gag. In addition to their general aura of peace, they also deeply value artistic expression and a family-like loyalty. Loxodons are a massive, insane breath of fresh air when compared to most other species. Like, we need a lot less warmongers and builders, and a lot more artists and, I don't know, maybe mischievous little guys just running around breaking things instead of, you know. Loxodons are effective spiritual leaders in their most common pathway through life, and I feel like they're visually inspired by Ganesh, which fits their affinity for arts and wisdom. But being peaceful and being harmless are 2 very different things, and Loxodons are surprisingly scary giants. Normally, they start at 7 feet tall and can reach just above 8. I feel like height alone is something that we don't have a good fantasy frame of reference for with bigger creatures. The average football player is a little over 6 feet and around 250 pounds, and if you meet one in a bar, he doesn't only get your seat, but he gets your drink. I mean, who's gonna stop him? Now imagine he's 2 feet taller, twice as heavy, and looks at you with a smile. There's a primordial fear that comes from peaceful things in tense situations. Like a huge screaming ogre fits the situation and I'm gonna defend myself. But Loxodons have advantage on being charmed or frightened. So if a couple of alleyway thugs corner a Loxodon priest, show him the severed head of their last victim, the elephant will slowly pull out a mace without changing its peaceful smile. I'd die in the room next door from exposure. But yeah, if you threaten the values or friends of a Loxodon, you have about 12 seconds to come up with some last words. Much like an elephant's herd, their sense of community is arguably the strongest personal trait shared between all Loxodons. Before you start poaching another cliche, Loxodons are diverse and they spread themselves through different factions and communities. They don't just sit in circles with other elephants behind a no girls allowed sign. Things that do that are boring. Loxodons usually find themselves in druidic circles, but others who enjoy a sense of harmonious order can end up in less peaceful families. There's a banker faction I described in my Ravnica video, and Loxodons that ride with them are just like nightmarish mafia members.
What you know about rolling down in the deep?
If an elephant man were to argue with Vin Diesel about whose family is more important, the battle would be much more gory than the Red Wedding. The coolest thing about them is their ability to completely trust their communities, and to expect the same level of trust in turn. Their loyalty is so absolute that nearly any Loxodon is ready and willing to die for their bros. Which immediately makes me want to make a super durable Loxodon with a loyal death wish who just keeps surviving accidentally.
Were you killed?
Sadly, yes.
but I lived.
In addition to some theme-fitting traits, where their skin is just leather armor and their bodies are dense enough to carry another Loxodon, they have trunks. I mean, you probably noticed that already, but it comes with words that let you say new words while playing the game to make your guy do new stuff. Loxodons essentially get an extra hand that's a bit less functional than their normal 4-pronged grippers. It's a bit weird how they had to balance it, where it can carry a third of everything its entire body can carry, but it can't do more than grapple, slap, scoot, or snoot. Or snorkel with a reach of 5 feet. So, if you're a Loxodon assassin, learn the cantrip Mold Earth, then just sit in a hole in the ground till you sniff the toes of your target. One of the last things that they're probably expecting is a tentacle to pop out of the ground and grapple their foot, only to be further terrified to find a leathery titan armed to the teeth just a few feet further down. Which is kind of funny considering that elephants are super articulate with their trunks. I've looked it up and seen it in person. They basically have 2 pinchy fingers that can crack a peanut shell without breaking the nuts. They can also smell insanely fucking well, like they can rip a snort and locate water 12 miles away. I'd sacrifice balance to drop some keen smell on these chunkers. But that's basically Loxodons. Thanks for sticking around past the new year. It was a rough one, but I'm glad you're back, you dang old trooper. Till the next video.